post society, a conflict of interest is highly evident throughout the entirety of the film and is portrayed via various camera techniques. The utilisation of these various filmic techniques allows the scene to be observed in an engaging manner. Camera angles, the utilisation of props, characterisation and setting allow the theme to be explored and applied to a film media. Camera angles have been utilised extensively throughout the film. These angles allow the audience to interpret the situation and to likewise engage the viewers. A wide camera angle was utilised to illustrate the surrounding landscape. The flock of birds uniformly distribute along the landscape and eventually part ways. An accompanied shot immediately after showcases the same uniformity and eventual distribution via the students. This camera angle allows the widening views of the audience and allows for evident visuals of the conflict of direction. It allows the audience to absorb all the relevant information at once and see the symbolic representation of the disaster in going against the grain. 3 consecutive montage shots are utilised to emphasise the conflict of interest between teaching techniques. Each shot utilises an eye-level shot, which are considered to portray emotional neutralisation and straight factual presentations. The eye-level shot likewise allows the audience to empathise and create relatability. Immediately after, a medium shot is additionally displayed, contrasting a modern technique utilised by Mr. Keating. The medium shot is utilised to convey a new teaching style and allows the audience to view the entirety of the scene. A medium shot allows for clear visuals of the subject and the camera is close enough for a primary connection. This allows the audience to also engage in his teaching as it feels comfortable, interesting and relevant. Mr. Keating's teaching style provides the students with an influential and profound method of education. Camera angles have been utilised to engage the audience and showcase the influence, admiration and effect Mr. Keating has on his students. A close-up shot was utilised that allows the audience to view Neil Perry's admiration for Mr. Keating and illustrates the significance of his teachings. Close-up shots are utilised to create strong connections between the audience and character and allowing the ease of connection to Neil's humanity and emotions. This highlights a conflict of interest in contrast to Neil's facial expressions when confronted with his father. The same close-up shot is utilised whenever Neil is in the presence of his father, and the conflict of emotions is evident between his influential teacher and his threatening father. The audience can clearly identify the struggle between a father and son. Props have been scattered throughout the film to assist in the portrayal of this theme. A cigarette was utilised at the beginning of the film that introduces the idea of contrasting opinions, personalities and interests. The differentiation between characters Todd Anderson and Charlie Dalton is evident due to the presence of the cigarette prop. Charlie Dalton is the first of the characters to pull out the cigarette, suggesting a bold, confident and rebellious nature, whilst Todd Anderson does not participate in the activity and has his back turned, illustrating his more reserved personality. Likewise, a ruler is utilised to suggest Richard Cameron's timid and apprehensive nature and highlights to the audience the conflict of interest between himself and the other students. Props and characterisation are intertwined throughout the film, allowing the props to introduce characters and their personalities, intentions and opinions. Charlie Dalton is conveyed as the extroverted, rebellious and playful character within the group and is executed via the position of his tie. The other characters wear their ties straight and appropriately, conveying a professional approach. However, Charlie Dalton does not wear his uniform with such pride. The conflict of interest toward the school uniform suggests educational views and standards between Charlie Dalton and the rest of the students, as well as his disobedience and rebellion to conform to the school's expectations. Props are likewise used to illustrate events and engage the audience. Neil Perry's suicide allows for the vast utilisation of props to key the audience into what was happening and to somewhat symbolise Neil's character and his unheard emotions. The close-up shot of the key is a prop that was utilised to initiate the audience thinking towards his suicide. Keys are a symbol of opening and closing, and for Neil this key was a representation of his life coming to a close. Neil had difficulty in expressing his emotions towards his father, and therefore his pain went unnoticed by many. The utilisation of props has additionally solidified this ideal. Snow was another prop that showed extensive conflict of interest. Once Neil had been found, Richard Cameron was seen in the snow, symbolising purity and innocence. However, seconds later, he vomited on the snow, waking up the audience and the other characters to the reality of what had occurred. The conflict of interest highlights the expectation and dream of going to this school and the reality of conforming to its standards. The setting exhibits great conflict of interest in various forms. A wide shot was utilised and illustrates the stone building surrounded by luscious nature and colourful environment. Nature and the environment often associated with peace and freedom, juxtaposing the standards of the school, conforming the students and allowing little to no freedom within their school setting. Likewise, the school itself additionally illustrates this conflict of interest by the appearance of the dorm rooms. The lack of individuality portrayed within these rooms, compared with the setting of the cave, opposes each other and the conflict of activity within these rooms. The dorm rooms highlight study, conformity and education, whereas the cave highlights freedom, passion and fun. By Weir displaying a conflict of interest throughout his film, he allows the viewer to be open-minded in their interpretation of the film and the message conveyed. Within the classroom, we would all hold differing opinions as to what the message of the film was. A conflict of interest, if you like. Is the message to seize the day, to follow tradition in hopes of being successful, or maybe it's a combination of both? If Weir has made us think and engage in this, he has succeeded.